Welcome back to the channel and welcome back to another edition of First Look. And in this edition of First Look, I'll be doing First Look UFC Fight Night, Gane versus Spivac. So as it goes with this series, I'm gonna be pinpointing some things that catch my eye upon the first look. And I'm gonna take four fights, maybe four fights. I might forget the third one. I might forget the fourth fight, but let's do it off the top of the head what I remember from scanning the card. And yeah, first fight that sticks out to me, the odds and whatnot. Nora Canoli versus Jocelyn Edwards. Edwards is like basically at a pick'em. She's like what -135, going in there with a woman that's 7 years her elder, far less experienced. Just two fights ago fought a fighter who was just debuting, like an 0-0 fighter, and I think the best fighter she fought had probably two more wins than she had losses. So it only was like she's 4-1 or 5-1. So not really saying the angle. She looked like a big berserker against some of the people she was fighting, but that was because she was fighting some little scrubs, like little 5'2" and 5'1" amateurs, basically, most of her career. Her debut fight was a good fighter or a decent fighter, who was also on this card for Nora Canoli. But other than that, and she lost that fight. But other than that, she fought scrubs. And the fact that she's getting, I know that it's good reason to feel avoidant of Jocelyn Edwards or kind of passive of it, but this fight should not be a pick 'em. So this is like a still value to have her, that close to really close to plus money or even, given all those things. And Jocelyn Edwards is like number 11 or number 10 in this weight class, and she has still had the chance to grow, and she's 27 years old versus 34-year-old. I guess really the only angle you probably could lean to, well, I'm not gonna get too much in that, but everything really leaning in Jocelyn Edwards. There's some little small stuff here, small stuff there, but hard to factor anything when you have fought scrubs. And you talking about she's this big fighter. Actually, I think Jocelyn Edwards is 1 inch taller. I think she's Canoli's 5'7". Jocelyn Edwards is 5'8". It was just the fact that Canoli been fighting midgets, like just stacking her record up with midgets. Some of them don't got fights at all or didn't have fights at all. So Jocelyn Edwards is a good steal, like what -135. Even if it gets to -100, that's a steal. But -100, that's a robbery. That's a big, large robbery right there. So Jocelyn Edwards is a good value and definitely want to steal the card. Do not sleep on her. There's no reason to sleep on her right here, especially at that value. Even if you were just running, doing this like a robot and entering calculations and doing long division and calculus and whatnot, it would tell you that that's a worthy investment. So Jocelyn Edwards, good one to look out for. Next one, I think, what's his name? Giannis Grimoire versus Kowlin Longron. Kowlin Longron should not be no big favorite like he is. I think he was like a -375 at one point. Now I think he's dropped down to a -305. I think Giannis Grimoire is like -245 or something, I believe. But don't quote me on that. I definitely know that they're around those ranges. And he should not be around that range. It should not be no 2-1 underdog or anything like that. It should be pick 'em, really. And I can understand Kowlin long run because he was a Cage Warriors champion or whatnot. So that gives him a little bit of esteem. But in reality, Cage Warriors champions have been doing terribly. They can't even get past the contender series lately. Now you got Ian Gary obviously putting on for them, and maybe one other fighter. But the rest of them have been doing terribly. They haven't been able to win in the UFC, haven't even been able to win on the contender series. So it is what it is. They aren't doing very good. So that Cage Warriors built don't mean much of anything right now. And yeah, so it don't really mean much of anything right now. He's a shorter fighter, going over for a kickboxer. His jiu-jitsu ain't all that great or anything like that. His wrestling really terrible. So not the best wrestling. I think anything, the more you got the better wrestling. A long run, really. Let me just get to the bread and butter. This ain't the prediction video. Really think that I guess long run probably does. He got a little bit more power in the hands. He has 30 like a blockhead, but I didn't give him height. I didn't give him a reach. I don't think he's a better fighter. I think Grimoire the better fighter. I feel like if Lauren gonna win, it's gonna be by catching with a big punch, probably using that blockhead to eat shots, then landing a big shot. But I don't think he's gonna go very far in the UFC at all. I think who's he reminding me of? He was reminding me of like Paul Redmond, who they sized up and then didn't go nowhere at all. Got mixed up. That's what he's reminding me of. But if I'm saying his name right, I think that's the dude's name, Paul Redmond, I believe. But yeah, not really. That odds should not be there. Is this like me picking? I'm not picking anyone just yet. But is this me mentioning Grimoire is a odd to look out because Grimoire just this dude, or other words, or he's not that dude? Well, he's definitely not that dude. He's definitely not that dude either. what I'm trying to say is that the odds should not be there. And if you were again a computer, I would say, not computing why this guy is his favorite, big of a favorite, you could get this guy, chance to double your money or quadruple your money potentially. And the risk ain't really all that great to do it. So it's worth an investment. So if you were a computer. But yeah, invest at your own detriment, I guess, or own will. But I think Gamori is a good investment. Am I picking him yet? My predictions aren't in yet. But I'm probably likely leaning Gamori. But the odds and the value is definitely all on his side. I would not bet. No, I would definitely not bet Blockhead at minus 300. Why you betting a debuting fighter, come from Cage Warrior champion, which don't mean nothing at the moment, at minus 300? He don't deserve that at all. Should be pick him. And if it was pick him, then I could probably understand. But even then, I probably would not pick him. Yeah, so that's the second one. Third one. All right. Third one will be William Gomes versus Lucas Almeida. So you got William Gomes. Is this the better overall fighter? And he's fighting in his backyard. At the very worst, Gomes could potentially knock him out. But I'm not Gomes. I mean, Lucas Almeida could knock him out at the very worst. But really all things kind of point into this being a tight matchup, or maybe William Gomes just really evolving, coming into this fight and put on a spectacular performance. So either William Gomes is going to have that spectacular performance, or it's going to be a close fight. And then close fight, William Gomes is this guy who can mix into wrestling, whereas Lucas Almeida is pretty one-dimensional. And in a close fight, if it goes to the decision, in his backyard in France, they're going to lean to him. He's a young up-and-coming fighter with a lot of talent, a lot of perspective. Obviously, he ain't like looking like LeBron James of MMA or nothing like that. He ain't that phenomenal or nothing, or nowhere near to that, or even a quarter of that yet, or probably never will be. But he's a very solid fighter coming up. And I think the engine's behind him just a little bit, enough. And the fact that in his backyard, it's going to get a little bit juiced up. The engine will be like, what are you talking about? You talking about the Matrix? What are you, Andrew Tate or something? But yeah, there's always a little engine and stuff. Like people get like little side motivation. Like, they always try to span into different markets. So they're definitely going to want a guy like William Gomes, who's in France, to at least be able to be, what's his name? What's that Chinese fighter? I'm forgetting the people's names like a mug right now. Li Jilang, or like an ambassador, a face, so that whenever they go to France or near France or in Europe, they have a talented enough fighter to fill the card up. So they got plenty of good Brazilians, great Brazilian, got 30 champions, 20 champions throughout the history. So Brazilians got plenty of fighters. They got never short on Brazilian talent. So French talent, they're gonna try to keep those guys here. So yeah, at the very worst for Gomes, it's gonna be a close fight. And even a worst case scenario, they're probably gonna lean Gomes in a close fight unless he get it dropped. And I don't think that's gonna happen, or not to the degree that's gonna get him lose a decision to him. So yeah, William Gomes, I think he's like minus 145, 135. So that's a very great value, all things considered. I know Lucas Almeida got a little bit hype on him, but he really ain't done enough to really deserve to be picking with this guy right now, especially given all the factors. And I probably will shift a little bit, but I think it's probably going to peak at most at minus 200 for William Gomes. And even at that, I think that's a great value. So yeah, William Gomes. Now to the fourth and final one I'll do for this video will be Benoit Saint-Denis versus Thiago Moises. And I'm not picking Benoit, well, I'm not picking anyone just yet, but the one I'm saying the great value on is not Benoit Saint-Denis. The great value is on Thiago Moises. When I first looked at this fight, before I really did a little miniature bit of digging, just clicked on their Tapology page and saw something, the first thing that stuck out to me was the fact that Thiago Moises is only 28 years old. I think Benoit Saint-Denis is 27. And why is that a big factor? Because maybe Benoit Saint-Denis was like this up-and-coming, he is this up-and-coming fighter, but he was like this up-and-coming fighter, really starting stride, which he is, and going in with this over-the-hill veteran, journeyman, gatekeeper. Then this would be, oh yeah, great value for Benoit Saint-Denis. But when you really look at it, and look at all, even just look at his record just a little bit, it's like, yeah, I'm definitely seeing that angle created for Thiago Moises. Moises is more experienced, more tested. When you really look at the loss he lost, they don't really kind of lean towards what Benoit Saint-Denis brings. Like he lost, who he lost to? He lost to Islam Makhachev. That's like a free loss, basically. That don't really mean much. Benoit Saint-Denis not gonna ever be on no Islam Makhachev level. If anything, he's not gonna make it to like the third and fourth round. Like I think Moses made the third or fourth round, but he made some rounds. I think Islam Makhachev puts Benoit Saint-Denis away in probably under 1.5. So, but that's MMA long division. But yeah. Well, I look at Benoit Saint-Denis, not the most technical striker, but he can hold his own on the feet. He's definitely a threat there. We look at Moses win, probably like he got like one or two TKO wins in like 9 submissions, something like that. So he's primarily a submission guy. And you look at the last fight, his striking more so he went in there and played his opponent with the kicks to get him to overcommit so he could get takedowns. And I think in this fight, I think Thiago Moises is the better submission grappler. I think Thiago Moises has 4 higher level strikers, has had good success against some high level strikers. Whereas, and not just purely just because of grappling, but he actually outstruck some of the higher level strikers. And yeah, I think he's the better grappler. I think he's more tested against higher level strikers. It's not like he used the back door kind of like what Benoit Saint-Denis did to beat pretty technical striker. And yeah, Bonfim's a solid fighter, but he had a lot of experience, but he was still very much a fresh face to the UFC, and he just got played a little bit. Benoit Saint-Denis played a good game plan against him, and it worked. But that same game plan won't work on Moises. Probably for Benoit Saint-Denis, he's probably gonna try to be a more strike-heavy approach and probably try to touch the chin of Thiago Moises more so than try to bait out grappling. But it turns the grappling cancels out in striking matchup. I do gotta like the experience of Thiago Moises on the striking department. And again, only 1 year older, but has probably like 4 years more experience. And we look at even some of his losses. Like I think he lost to Demir Ismagulov. I think at that time he was like 24, and he has 4 years to hit puberty and whatnot, and get older and mature and get better as a fighter. And that's an understandable loss at that point. Ismagulov was 28 at the time, and he was 24. So Ismagulov was a little bit more into his grown man body and stuff, a little bit more mature, a little more bit developed, I guess. And now Thiago Moises has gotten a chance to get older, get better. So gotta like Thiago Moises' odds here, at plus money, and people kind of sleeping on it a little bit, maybe because it's in France, maybe because recency. But I'm not going to say my prediction. I could easily lean Benoit Saint-Denis, but what I probably say, I'm probably not going. The odds still pretty much pick him. So it's like you get a little bit better value here, a little bit better value here, but to get a guy like Thiago Moises with his experience, is still very much getting better and not even at his prime yet. Who has the better grappling? Striking is really the gray area, like Thiago Moises, like the cleaner striker. We definitely know Benoit Saint-Denis is tougher. He can make this ugly fight. We see him get picked apart and destroyed and still make it to a decision to get hurt like he should have been finished, but at welterweight. So the guy at least very durable. And if he can make an ugly fight, I think he's definitely the tougher fighter, or at least the more durable fighter than Thiago Moises. So there's a lot of little angles, but I still think the value is on Thiago Moises, and that's really what I'm pinpointing. The value on Thiago Moises. And yeah, so the 4 people are Jocelyn Edwards, look out for her, near plus money. What's his name? Giannis Gamori, 2-1 underdog, undeservedly. I mean, no reason why he should be a 2-1 underdog against who he's fighting. Kyle in long run, not that dude and never will be that dude. Third one is William Gomes, solid talent, and just the better overall fighter and fighting his backyard, and he's near like he's near even. And then the fourth one is Thiago Moises, small dog, but he's not over the hill. He's not even in his prime yet, and he matches up very well with Benoit Saint-Denis, and really he takes away Benoit Saint-Denis' biggest strength. So, or could cancel out his biggest strength, or surpass his biggest strength, or better at him at his biggest strength. So, interesting odds there. Slight dog, but being some obvious things are being slept on, at least right now. So yeah, that's the video. Thanks for watching. Like, comment, and subscribe, and come back for more videos. Peace.